Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about asking for more and becoming comfortable with advocating and negotiating for yourself. In these crazy days we're living in, you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. You definitely have to know when to run. And you must know when to stop, put your foot down, and use your voice to ask, negotiate, and advocate for yourself. The truth is, most people don't have more because they won't ask for more, even when they know they deserve it. Where are you being shortchanged? Is it in your relationship, work, family, housing, finances, the marketplace? I think if we let it, life can beat us down to the point that we take on the mentality, what good is it going to do anyway to stand up for myself? I used to feel the same way until I got sick and tired of feeling sick and tired and seeing the injustice in my life. I was not being greedy. I just wanted what was fair and right. Here's a question for you. If you could pick one area of your life to begin asking and negotiating for more, to bring it into balance, what would that area be? You can't ask or negotiate if you're not clear on what you want. And if you haven't been advocating for more in your life, chances are there's 3 reasons for that. Today, I'm going to discuss what those reasons are and share what you can do to strengthen your voice, supporting your voice, so that you can ask and negotiate your way to just simply a more fulfilling, meaningful life, which, let's face it, that's what we're all going for. So number 1, if you're not advocating for yourself, you may be holding deeply entrenched mental programming that makes settling for less than you deserve feel safe and comfortable. Mental programming begins at birth. Close your eyes for a minute and imagine a baby, it just in her crib, screaming, 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 and mom and dad simply ignore those cries. Eventually the baby is going to stop crying and accept the fact that no one is coming. This same baby may grow into the child who loses the power of her voice. The child may even grow up thinking, this is what I have always gotten, and this is what I'm going to settle for, nothing. If you've ever wondered, how do I know if I'm settling for less? A sure way to know if you're settling for less than you deserve is that constant gnawing feeling in the pit of your stomach, or in your throat, or in your chest, that keeps that same question churning. That question is, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing? That's a really good indication. And if you're unable to generate a reasonable answer that makes sense to you, please know that you're probably settling for less and it's become an automated response in your life. And now it's part of your mental programming. 3 questions will help you break up that mental programming. And here they are. You need to answer these questions. Well, first you need to write them down. Then you need to answer them from a very authentic and truthful place. Number 1, what do I need to do? What do I need to do and keep telling myself to make this situation okay? I'll repeat that. What do I need to continue doing and telling myself to make this situation okay? Number 2, if I begin to ask or negotiate for healthier circumstances, what do I need to admit to myself? Number 3, who or what will I become if I don't begin to negotiate and ask for change in this situation? Folks, if you must lie to someone, don't let it be yourself. Healing happens in truth, even if the truth is ugly and it feels like it's slapping us in the face. The only true way to heal that I know of is to face the truth. A man came to my office and he was being physically abused by his wife, and don't think that can't happen to men. So he was in a very bad domestic violence situation for a long time. And I asked him why he stayed. He flat out admitted, I'll be honest, I don't know if I can get used to better treatment. So he had become so conditioned to abuse, he didn't even know if he could function in a healthy relationship. Sometimes negotiation means asking better of ourselves and for ourselves. Now, while we're on the topic of relationship negotiation, many of us remain in unhealthy relationships because we have a palpable fear of being alone. Trust me, I know all about it. I've lived it. I've been there. And when I was in what I would refer to as a jacked up relationship, I stayed because I told myself, well, it's better than the alternative. In reality, it was far worse than the alternative. Unhealthy relationships not only rob us of our time and peace of mind, they also systematically beat down our spirits day after day and hour after hour. If you find yourself in an unhealthy relationship today, it's time to start negotiating with yourself to get out. I'll share with you how I got away from my draining relationship and created a sweet life for myself. This is the same formula I share with my clients today. First of all, I admitted to myself that the relationship sucked and I was mainly in it to avoid being alone. I struck a deal with myself to keep the relationship intact for the time being, with the promise that I would do at least 3 uplifting, very positive things for myself each week. I did not focus on subtracting anything in my life. I focused on adding. I simply added 3 positive elements a week in my life. Within a month, I started walking 3 miles a day, spending more time with friends, and I put my heart and soul into a demanding writing project. Something very, very strange and unexpected happened. I began to feel better when I was not with this man. I felt more at peace and more satisfied with my life, and the feeling continued. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I left that relationship, and yes, I remained single for a long time after that. But I'll tell you what, my dignity and respect were both intact. I could wake up in the morning, look at my face in the mirror, and I truly enjoyed and was proud of the person that I saw staring back at me. And most importantly, getting out of that relationship by doing some negotiating for myself made me available for the time when a healthy relationship came. And you know what? It did. At the end of the day, again, we often need to ask more of ourselves and question the negative patterns in our lives. The second reason more of us shy away from asking and negotiating for ourselves is a core fear of rejection or hurting others' feelings. Let's start with the fear of rejection. The rich irony in our world today is we're so afraid of rejecting others or being rejected that our fear creates the circumstances we want to avoid. Now, a former client of mine, this was a 47-year-old woman, openly admitted that she couldn't pay someone to sit and have a cup of coffee with her. She was desperately alone in her life and terrified of rejection if she were to reach out for friendship. The truth is, she was in a social position that required her to be vulnerable and take some risk. The woman was in her life alone. The few times she received invitations or gatherings, she rejected them for fear that she would come off awkward and in turn be rejected. When she met a potential friend, she refused to extend an invitation to lunch or dinner while secretly expecting the person to read her mind and invite her to share a meal. I get it. Trust me, I get it. People can be brutal and mean, and they can break your heart. I've experienced all of the above, but I also know that people can be sweet and generous and kind and comforting. If you do not have enough social supports in your life, let me be one to just tell you honestly, it is a problem that needs to be dealt with by challenging yourself to move out of your comfort zone, to begin to get over it, you can force yourself to risk the discomfort. Tell yourself, yes, I am going to be uncomfortable, probably very uncomfortable. Tell yourself, yes, there will be times I'm going to get rejected in the process. And manage your expectations by sitting in the total seat of reality and just preparing yourself for really the reality of what it involves in risking and opening yourself up in the world we live in today. I think you need to be smart about it. Think you need to stay honest with yourself. And I think you will be amazed at who shows up in your life. And another word I want to tell you about rejection is man's rejection is often God's protection. That's why the times that I've been rejected in my life, I don't reach. I don't beg anyone back. Let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. Goodbye. Because I do know that which is not for us, we don't want to invite it into our lives anyway. I don't feel like rejection is the worst thing in the world. I think living in fear is the worst thing in the world because it robs us of the life that we deserve. Now on to hurting other people's feelings. The truth is, if someone in your personal or professional life is hurt or threatened because you are asking and advocating for more, and what you're asking and advocating for is fair, then that means this person is more interested in controlling you than fostering fairness and equity in the relationship. If you can't share your voice in a relationship without fear of the relationship falling apart, here's another news flash. You do not have a real relationship. You are in an unhealthy dictatorship and you're being suppressed. How do I know? Again, I experienced a very similar dynamic situation. I did, again, support my voice. Things were going on were unfair. There was no equity. And that relationship fell apart as I began to use my voice. And it should have, because it was unjust, unbalanced, unfair. And again, let them walk. If your fear of rejection is holding you back from using your voice in a situation that's simply not right, please take a moment to remember that anytime you're doing anything worthwhile in your life, and certainly advocating for yourself is worthwhile, rejection will come into play. And again, I will take rejection over suppression any day and twice on Sundays. Number 3, a lack of understanding and confidence in the area of engaging negotiation that will benefit your life. That's the third reason that people shy away from asking and advocating for themselves. Again, it boils down to a confidence issue. Confidence does not come from reading or thinking about an issue. It doesn't. I don't care. You can read till you're blue in the face. You can discuss till you're blue in the face. Confidence comes from execution. Yes, in the actual doing is where you grow and gain confidence. I'd like you to take a minute and think about an area of your life that you excel. Maybe it's being a good mom, an athlete, an accountant, or a baker. Chances are you did not start out a pro. You worked at it. You built up your skills more and more over time. That's how it goes. Rome was not built in a day. It was in the actual doing. Gaining comfort in the area of asking and negotiating for your life is no different. Start small and end big. Make a list of all the areas of life where you need to begin asking and negotiating for more. Again, even if you start small, just starting is a confidence booster. Now I'd like to share a couple of real-world examples with you on how asking and negotiating empowered 3 people's lives. So for my first story, I'm going to share a gentleman came to my office. He was very secretly upset with his wife because after she had 2 children, she stopped wearing dresses, stopped taking care of herself and putting on makeup, and just simply, just had no interest in doing those little extra things that she had done before. He loved his wife dearly, and he didn't want to hurt her feelings. He had asked her on, more than 3 occasions to please, put on those special dresses and perfume he loved so much. And she would only reply, after watching these kids all day, I don't have any energy to look good. So he began his negotiation and asked her, what if I hired a babysitter once or twice a month to come and watch the kids for the day? That would leave enough time for you to rest, relax, get refreshed, and we could go out for a night out on the town. Guess what? She agreed. And one night a month quickly led to 2 or 3 nights out a month. And the couple just rekindled, more energized than ever before. And it was all due to the art of negotiation and asking and compromise. Second story I'll share with you. Woman I knew was harboring very deep resentment toward a friend who kept blowing off plans at the last minute. I mean, who wouldn't be frustrated? She found value in the friendship and wanted to keep it intact while eliminating the frustration that came about when her friend ditched plans that were made several weeks in advance at the final hour. She made a deal with her friend to enjoy spontaneous outings when and only when they were both available. And this arrangement truly met both of their needs. Planning fun outings in a flexible way. It happened all the time. They met up for movies and dinners within a few hours' notice, and truly the problem was resolved. Last story I want to share with you is of a woman who had been working the night shift at a hospital for the last 12 years. The money was very, very good, and the only drawback was her hours prevented her from spending a lot of time with her children. She didn't want to rock the boat by asking for a shift change, but her children were getting older. That was the issue, and she thought it was worth the risk. She took a chance and asked for the shift change with zero, as in no resistance. Her boss agreed. Her only regret was not asking sooner. She could have been enjoying evening dinners and bedtime stories with her children years earlier had she only understood the power of asking, negotiating, and self-advocacy. Folks, I'm telling you, ask, negotiate. It really is the pathway to getting more in your life. I hope this audio presentation was helpful for you and that you will use these tips and suggestions to improve many areas of your life. Thank you.